Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Melanated Veteran. I'm your host, Miss Mesha, and before we begin, always share, like, and subscribe to The Melanated Veteran on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Definitely check us out at our website at www.themelanatedveteran.com. So today my guest was recommended from one of my coworkers. We and her have been talking about, the standards of in the military, the grooming standards, especially for African American women. And she said this woman will be really good for this. So I called her up, and I was so happy that she said she'd do this. So please welcome Lakesia Brister.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on. I I know there have been a lot of changes since both me and you have been in and out. So that's definitely something. Our hair,
Right.
our crown and glory is something that's so important. And so I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this. So, so let's begin. So, what branch were you in, and how long?
I am currently still in as a reservist, but I am in the Army, and actually yesterday made 16 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats. Congrats.
Thank you.
You plan on being, as they call, a lifer?
Yeah, I joined when I was 17 years old,
Hmm.
so I still have, a lot of life in me, I like to say.
Okay.
So for me, it's something I enjoy, and I know a lot of people think about 20 and they're like, "That's it, I'm done."
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, it's like I think I'll just keep going until you know the Lord says, "Hey, it's time to stop," or something else. It's something else that I want to do. But being a reservist, I still have time for civilian life as well. So it's
Mm.
not as tedious as it was when I was on active duty.
Right. I
Yeah.
definitely understand that. So, what made you decide to go into the Army
Oh, this is
Reserves?
the funniest thing. Every time I tell this story, people laugh. So let's tell you about this. I was
Okay.
17 years old, and I was in high school, and I had a English exam, and I forgot to study. Just forgot. Doing other things, and the teacher was passing out the exam, and then they made an announcement on the intercom that was like, all students that wanted to take the ASVAB, please report. Oh, I hopped up out of the chair. I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to take the ASVAB. And my teacher looked at me like, really? Really? And I said, yeah, I'm going to join I'm going to join the Air Force. And she was like, no, you're not. She said, you did you not prepare for the test? I was like, yeah, I studied, but I really want to take the ASVAB. She was like, okay. And I got up, and she touched me on my shoulder. She said, if you score less than a 70, you will come back and take this. You'll come back and take this test. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I left to take the ASVAB, and while I'm taking the ASVAB, hey, I'm just doing something to do, and it's I'm not gonna go forward with this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 weeks passed by, and I am stalked and hunted down by all type of recruiters. People start calling my home, and I'm like, what is going on? And they were like, do you know what you scored on your ASVAB? I was like, no, I wasn't thinking about it again. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
did it to get out of my English exam. I ended up scoring a 90. And they were like, you can join any branch that you want, and you can have any job that you want. And I was like, no, I'm not going to join. That was just a little play thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, the same time, recruiters are still hitting me up 2 months later. I'm like, I think this is maybe something I do want to pursue. I have a younger brother. We're 2 years apart. And I just didn't want my parents to have to pay for both of us to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
Studied. I got some partial scholarships, but I was like, hey, I think this is something that I would actually be interested in doing. They sold me on. You could be a weekend warrior, and you just come in to drill once a month, and you get this and this and this. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was okay. They're paying for college, and that was a big thing for me.
Right.
So that was the reason I joined. But it actually, I took the exam just to get out of something, not knowing that 16 years later,
Right.
it would be a major part of my life.
That is awesome. Yeah, they definitely will hunt you down, and especially with
Yes.
the 90. Yeah, you anything. So
Yeah.
that's pretty neat. So what was it like through your boot camp? I'm not sure if you end up doing having to still do like the full boot camp. Um,
Yeah. So,
uh,
when I joined, I think they were doing eight. I think it was either 8 or 9 weeks of boot camp.
mm,
It wasn't bad at all, honestly. And and I tell a lot of people, they're like, "What?" It wasn't. But the craziest thing is, I had never even held a weapon until I went to basic training. So,
mm,
they kind of try to prepare you, to be people yelling at you and stuff. And I was already kind of prepared. It's a mental thing.
mm-hmm,
Nobody's really touching you. It's basically they want to break you down to build you up. I get
mm-hmm,
it. I get the concept. So the yelling and screaming and tedious never bothered me because I always felt like, okay, at the end of the night, I still get to go to my bed and go to sleep.
right.
I still get to just try again the next day. The whole point is for them to, you know, get you to a point where you're vulnerable enough to be able to trust their guidance and leadership and be able to get you in a better spot. So for me, it was not bad. There were definitely times when I was like, look, I am tired of being yelled at. I am tired of running until my body hurts. I am
Mm-hmm,
tired of doing push-ups until like my arms feel like they're gonna break.
mm-hmm,
But I knew at the end, and that's something I carry on to this day. You have to just deal with a whole lot of crap, or take the bad with the good. At the end, you will have a prize, and that's pretty much the way I think of things. So, boot camp wasn't as bad as everybody told me that it would be,
mm-hmm,
but I will say that I really did have great leaders around me. So when I joined, I was 17. I went to boot camp while I was 17. So what happened is they have the program that's like a split option. So you go do boot camp after your 11th grade year, and then after you graduate, you get to do your second part, which is like your AIT, your schooling part. So I did the boot camp, while I was still in high school. That was easy. That was fun. But I knew at the end, I get to go back home. I don't keep pressing on like most people. Okay, they go to boot camp and then they go straight into school and then they go into their career. I'm like, okay, I still get to go home to my parents after this. So it's kind of almost like summer camp for me, just just hard and with weapons and grenades.
right. Your attitude is amazing because that has so much to do with when you're going through everything. Because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, it's so hard," but like you're like, "Look, let me look at the positives
hmm
and keep it moving." Uh,
Yeah, I just
so,
kind of had to tell myself, okay, I know that this is what they're telling you it's going to be, but, I don't know many people who don't make it out. It's just going to be a tough 8 to 9 weeks, but, it can be done.
hmm
So that's, kind of just something I just took with me. And I still use it. I still have that same way of thinking now.
hmm
Just get through the hard part. If you have to, tough it out, but just get through it.
okay. Another thing you said that is so important is especially leadership. Like if
hmm
you a good leader will make a big difference in the morale. Um,
Right,
it's people don't realize that,
right,
especially in the military. It can be, as people say, a career killer, especially if you have one that's not um, helpful or about their people. Um,
right.
I like that you mentioned that. And that also helps you to make sure, like, look, this is the kind of leader I want to be as well.
Right. Actually, one of my drill sergeants, which was it's not rare, but you never really see it a lot, was a black female. And she was tough. She was very tough. But I don't know, it's like she had a little soft side for me. She was like, she used to call me little girl. She was like, look, little girl. You cannot let them outdo you. She said, it's okay if you can't get through it. I specifically remember learning how to handle my rifle. I just felt like it was just so much. She would pull me to the side and she said, I don't do favoritism, but you have some of the same traits that I had. She said, you don't let these people see you worry. You don't let them see you struggle. And behind closed doors, we'll work on it. And then in front of them, you show your confidence. And she said, but don't let anybody outdo you, and don't make these people feel like, oh, I've been hunting deer and hunting animals with, my family for years, so I know how to do it. If this is your first time, she said, that's fine. She said, all you need to do is learn how to shoot it, and we're going to work on it. And she was very, very, she was very much alpha and beta, comparing them to males, alpha and beta, but she was like a alpha female. She had her stuff together. And she didn't show favoritism in front of everybody. She would say, Private Brister, I need you to do this, and then behind the scenes she knew that it was something I kind of struggled with. So she would say, come on, Private Brister, you come with me, we're gonna do some extra duty. But she was actually helping me, to get that confidence and stuff. So at the time the military is kind of like a male dominated thing, but she was like, don't let them see you struggle. Yeah, she's really cool.
Oh, that to me, a lot of times too, you don't see too many black women, like you said, for one, in certain leadership places, and then when you do, sometimes people feel like they're competing, or they're competing against each other, or they want to see each other fail, which that's not the case.
Right.
You have women, especially as black women, for us, most of us, we're like, look, let me help you out, sis, because I don't want to see you struggle like I did.
Right.
And the fact that she took you under her wing, to make sure you knew, look, this is what you need to do, and I want to see you succeed.
Right.
That I'm all for it. So as now you're in the reserves and everything, and seeing how things has changed. I know from 16 years ago till now, things have, it's a little bit different.
Right.
For us as females, black, African American females, our hair, our grooming standards is something that a lot of us have had problems with. What have you seen that's changed with that?
Well, now with the newer standards for hair, I think that's amazing, especially for black females, especially if you're natural. So you know what I mean. I've always been natural. I did have a relaxer one time, and it was basically because of the standards. I felt like I needed to get my hair into a sleek, tight bun. So ever since I was a little girl, I've always had long, thick hair. So even in basic training, it was a little bit tough, trying to get a bun at the back, and you have your Kevlar on, and they would be like, Private Brister, why don't you just cut your hair? No. Are you crazy? So I would have to get braids or, anything to keep my hair a little bit more uniformed and put together. I hate to use those words, but it was always a struggle, even in the morning times doing my hair versus battle buddies, that were of different ethnicity. They had different types of hair. It was so much easier for them to wet their hair, put it in a bun, and they go. No, doing mine was like a dissertation. Okay, first we have to get it wet, then we have to put the brush, in the gel. Then you have to pin it down for about 10 minutes, and then you can do something else with it. So, watching over the years with the different standards for, the regulation with, um, different hair and different things, it has really been an eye opener, and it really lets me see that they actually, take us into consideration. I'm not sure why it took so long, but for the longest, people would say, why won't, when speaking about Black women, why won't they do this or why won't they do that? You have to understand we have a different genetic makeup. I have been with battle buddies, even on active duty, who they have been in for so long, and they've been wearing tight buns for so long, that they have developed things like alopecia, or different, even not even just that, just seeing their edges have to be so sleek back, they begin to come out, and it is what it is. So, with this new change, and now, you can wear your different types of braids. Even now, as of recently, you don't even have to have your hair in a bun. You can wear a loose ponytail now. And this is like as new as as like a month ago. You can literally wear a loose ponytail. For me, it just speaks to, things change. Things change. I've always felt like this will be something that will change. A few years ago, I want to say it was 2014, when they said that, okay, it's okay for females to wear, their locks. Well, probably a year before, I had a battle buddy who, she already had them. She had them, and they would give her a hard time. Well, she had them always in a nice bun, but, different commands, different people. Someone gave her a hard time, and she said, you know what, I'm just going to cut them, take them out.
Oh, no.
Literally, the year later, they were like, okay, they can be worn now. Wow. After she's cut something that she, dedicated her time and effort to, and now, cut them. And now you're saying, okay, cool, you guys can wear them. So for me, I didn't have too many hard journeys, but when I had longer hair, I did. I will say that is one of the reasons I no longer have longer hair. I was just like, you know what, hey, let's just cut it off. So I cut hair that my parents grew forever, and now I just have a pixie. But every now and then I go back and forth from a pixie to a bob, and now I have braids. It just really just depends. But being able to know that I now have the liberty to do almost whatever I want, it's it's a little bit more satisfying. But for me, it's come towards the end of my career. What about the people who had to cut their hair? And as Black women, your hair is that's you, right?
Hello.
So when you have to cut it to keep your career, it's just like, wow, that I felt like that shouldn't have to be done for that soldier. But I am glad that they are changing the grooming standards.
I am too. I'm like you. I wish that they would have, like when I was in, I wish that they would have been okay. And especially because when I went in 2009, they were making women, we had to cut our hair. So like we ended up having, all of us had the short haircut. And it wasn't until a few years later they were like, okay, well, as long as you can learn how to put it in a bun, then they're good. It's like, well, wait a minute.
After I've cut mine off.
Right, wait a minute. And then it's like now, the Navy started doing that with the ponytails. I think they started it last year, which I never understood why most of the services don't at the same time do everything at the same time. But they just started with the loose ponytail. And I'm glad now that I've seen a lot of women now with the locks, and I'm like, yes.
Let people be comfortable, with their culture. And if you don't want to put a relaxer in your hair, you don't have to. Right. And I felt like, putting one in your hair to conform to a standard, some people were against it, but I said, okay, I'll try it. Cool. It's fine. I grew it out. Didn't like it. You want to be you. You already have to wear the same thing as everybody. You already have
Mm,
to do everything else. So leave people some form of identity for them to be themselves in, you know, such a role where everything else is uniformed.
mm,
Where is, the freedom for you to be you? Where is the freedom for me to be Lakesia?
right.
So when I decided, hey, I'm tired of the struggle of ponytail, and I just want to do something different. So
Mm,
every few years I cut it and let it grow out to about a
mm,
bob and cut it again. But that's me. That's me being able to do what I want to do with my hair.
right.
I love the concept of military and everything being formal, uniform, but I just feel like down to hair, it's just
Mm,
super extreme,
it is.
especially when it comes to black females
Mm,
and our history.
mm,
Our hair is your glory. So let
yes.
people be able to do what they want to do with their hair. I understand that it needs to be uniformed or groomed, as they like to
Mm,
say, but it actually messed with a lot of people's self-esteem when
mm,
they had to pull the buns back, or maybe edges would come out, or so much
mm,
strain on having a neat and tight bun. It's just like, okay, I'm doing this for you guys, and of course I have a career, but at the end of the
mm,
day, once I take their hair down, they may not feel as confident.
mm-hmm. Exactly. Especially because for us black women, it is like you said, it's our crown and glory. And
Hmm.
people, like, with our edges, oh, that's
Yes.
like, if you don't have any edges, like a lot of this, it's like, oh no, I can't go. Nope, no, no. Like
No.
my hair is, and they don't understand. Like for us, our hair doesn't go like grow down; it grows up, and so
Right,
it's
right. I
so
was just telling
different.
somebody this. It does not. It's not gonna be like, you know. I hate to say it, but it's not gonna be like everybody else's.
Exactly.
So I think that them actually sitting down and saying, "Hey, let's look at this. Let's figure out, well, what can we do," because when I was researching, like, how did this come about? The Army has been around a while. Now you
Hmm.
just decided to change everything. A lot of people were, they had had enough. They had been complaining, hey, something has to be done for our black women confidence and developing alopecia. And you have a lot of black females that are in the military and
Mm,
they have tenure. You have a lot of them. So they were just saying, hey, we have to do something to make them feel like we care about what's going on with them as well. So
mm,
with doing that research, it's like, hey, do they not know that our genetic makeup is not the same? Our hair doesn't grow the same way.
mm,
It's just completely different for us. So let's find some type of grooming standards that cater to all of our ethnicities.
mm.
So if it takes a while, cool, that's fine. But I feel like it should have been done earlier. But I'm grateful that it's there now.
Right. And hopefully they'll continue to expound on it. They'll keep growing
Right.
it to other things too as well. Because for us, like it's the struggle. It can be real for us. It really can. Um, I know you said that there's a lot that you got from being in the military that you still use today. So
Hmm.
what are some other skills that you use?
Oh, that could be anything from the small things to the large lessons. So for the larger lessons, I have children now, so I always try to kind of not necessarily militarize them, but some of the things that I learned, make sure when you have to make sure you make your bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So teach them that as well. Once your feet hit the ground, you make the bed. That's the first accomplishment that you can make for your day, right? And not only just, for the sake of me not having to come behind you to clean your bed. It's just to make you feel like, okay, I'm starting something off. I'm completing something. First thing when I wake up, how many other things can I complete throughout the day?
Mm-hmm.
So just to put them in a mind frame of seeing some type of end result. People like instant gratification, right? So I made my bed, boom. mom doesn't have to talk to me about making the bed. I've already done my one accomplishment for the day. I mean, to start it off. So let's keep going. Let's keep this same battle rhythm. Number two is, when it comes to laundry, making sure that you're properly folding your things. I've kept that with me for 16 years. Now, sis, we all hate to do laundry, right?
Yes. Yes.
Forever, right? But once I actually do them, I just always keep in mind, let's try to maximize our space, right? So folding your clothes in a certain manner to be able to pack more in, it's just a little bit convenient for me, and that's one thing I always remember. I remember when they were teaching us how to properly fold our things to be able to make more space. So the better that you pack or the better that you fold, you can always put more things in. So I always tell that to my kids as well. And not even just with clothing, it's just, the metaphor for it. It's just like laundry. The better that you prepare, the more room that you have for everything else. So even with the kids, the better that you prepare for your day, the more room you have to do whatever else you need to do on your day. So, for example, Saturday mornings, wake up. Mom, do we still have to make our beds? Yes, we have to make our beds. The better that we prepare it, the more room that you have to grow. And I just take those type of lessons with everything else. Even with, just a simple job interview, the better that you prepare up front, the more room you have to grow. So when you want to do anything, you want to make sure that you're, including preparation and that you have everything that you need, and then anything else that comes, that's an addition, right? So that's one of the things I always try to teach them, and I got that from the military. Just be prepared for anything. Another one is criticism, and most people are like, I don't like that. I always ask for feedback, and when I ask my friend for feedback, I say, give me what you would feel uncomfortable giving me. Don't tell me, oh, you did good with this. Okay, I got that part. I need you to tell me the hard things, because if you never tell me the hard things, I won't know where to improve, right? I got that from the military. When you're in basic training, and like I said before, they want to break you down to build you up. So they're always going to tell you what you did wrong.
Right.
They're really going to tell you what you did right. And if you do something right, you're still going to get in trouble because you shouldn't have did that right. So taking those things as, okay, I know what I did right. I know that I have accomplished this. Nobody has to tell me that. I need you to tell me what I'm doing wrong so that I can prepare to have those things right. So that's just the way that I kind of operate now. Don't get me wrong, everybody loves, to be complimented, and I like that. But with every compliment, I want you to tell me something that I can improve on. And it's just something I always took with me. That one black female drill sergeant that I told you about, she would tell me, this is what you did right, but this is what you did wrong. So we're not going to focus on what you did right, because a lot of things that you did wrong, we're going to focus on how to improve those. So the next time you come back around, it's like, okay, she did this right, she did this right. I don't have anything wrong to say that she did, so let's improve those wrongs. So now when you have another evaluation, they can't say anything, because everything that was wrong, you have gone back to correct it. You didn't harp on, oh, but I did this right. Yeah, you could have done one thing right, but 3 things wrong. So let's fix the things that were done wrong. Another lesson that I have learned, and I take with me to this day, is that you always need a mentor. Everybody needs a mentor, and I don't care if you're, you feel like you got it all together. With every stage of your life, you need a mentor. Mentorship is very important, because you need something to look to. You need someone to tell you the things that you don't see. I mentor a girl in my neighborhood. She's my mentee. She is in high school. She's thinking about joining the military, and that's fine, right? But I also have a mentor myself. And I think that at every stage of your life, you should still have a mentor. And they don't necessarily have to be, in the same field that you're in. Or for a long time, I felt like they had to be something that I wanted to look up to. But you can have mentors for different parts of your life. So my mentor that I have, she is actually a retired military. So, that helps. She helps me to talk through, okay, I know you're saying, you have 4 years left, but, what will you do after those 4 years are over? And I was like, she was like, because you won't get a check. You're too young. You're too young to get your check, because all my time hasn't been active duty. So what can you do to improve your situation? Well, what is it that you do? And I'm like, well, now I drill, and for my civilian career, I work in HR. And she was like, well, why not just keep going? What would stopping today do for you? And I'm like, honestly, I just won't have to put that uniform on and give up a weekend, give up a whole weekend and struggle with hair, but it's something that I genuinely enjoy. So the military has taught me to like cherish those relationships that you gain with people that you trust. Sometimes you have to trust people that you don't know. And that's always tough, right? But when you get to learn people and you get to be with everyone, having that team camaraderie is always something that it's untouchable. So even in your civilian careers, I know you said like you had a coworker that you guys chatted about, you guys talked about the podcast with. When you think about those relationships that you have with people, having a relationship with someone who has been former military or still is, it's always a different type of vibe. It's always a different type of vibe because we understand the struggles of what it is to conform to things. So for me, those are some of the top things that I've taken with me and I still use with me. So even the small things, the tangibles and the intangibles, I take those with me every day.
She just dropped a bunch of jewels right now. Like preparedness, have a mentor, like it's just one after the other, and I love it. Yeah, I know, I do. Like, I love it, and I hope people do understand and see that, because it is something that, like, all that is so important. Like, not having someone tell you like the good things. You don't need a yes man or yes woman.
I don't need
you
that.
know you need
that.
someone to be like, hey, like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is something that you need to be improve on, like you need to improve on. Like and being prepared, like there's so much stuff like going on that you do need to be prepared. You need to be able to deal with it, because a lot of times people don't know, like they get in situations like, I don't know what I need to do, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Be ready for it.
And that's pretty much what it is. I'm not just telling you to make your bed because I don't want to make it. I'm trying to prepare you for the real world.
Right.
Like you're here with mom and dad, but once you get out, I want to show you that, okay, I have to prepare, I have to make sure that I have things together. Even for my daughter, at night we tell her, prepare for the next day, tomorrow, because what happens if you wake up late tomorrow and you don't have time to do anything? You've already done it the night before. You've already packed your snack, you've already packed your lunch, you already have your water bottle filled, you already have clothes out. All you have to do in the morning time is personal hygiene and make your bed and come downstairs and you're ready for school. But what happens if you don't wake up on time? Now you have to scramble, right? So we want to prepare as far ahead as we can, and then let the new things come to us and we take them as they can. But we can't take the new things and not having the old things covered. So that's what that little thing is for her.
Yeah, definitely, because thinking about it, like, that's that undue stress. Why put more stress on yourself than you need to? So I'm all about that. And with the mentor, having a mentor, I'm always believe too, like mentors need, like you said, mentors need to have mentors, because it's like, if you're being a mentor, well, who's mentoring you and who's mentoring your mentor? Like it's that going, it's that full circle. So I love it. I'm all about it. So before we wrap up, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and speaking, your mind, and talking about, your military experiences and everything. And just the gems that you've dropped today have been amazing. So again, I want to thank you for that.
No, thank you for having me. I'm an avid podcaster. I love podcasts. So when you reached out, I was just like, hey, how come I have never heard of them? So I will say I have been stalking you. I have been listening, and I love it. Love to see it. A lot of times we get forgetting. It is what it is. When you're in the military, you're a black female. Sometimes you're overlooked. So now that you have this whole thing, you have this whole section for us melanated women. I think that's very dope. A lot of times we're forgetting.
Yeah.
We're just simply forgotten about. So being able to have this type of platform and being able to speak with you about things that we both know that are very important to our culture, that's always, a plus. And, I'm honored.
Yeah, thank you. And this will not be the last time that you'll be on the show, because I definitely will have you back on again. So,
yay, I'm excited. I thank you for having me.
Yes.
I really do appreciate you letting me be able to, speak about things that I've gone through, and even just, just to have the freedom to be able to have a podcast. I think that's amazing for you, especially as a black female.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So you can find me at the Melanated Veteran on Facebook and IG, and www.themelanatedveteran.com. I'm your host, Miss Mesha, signing off, saying embrace what makes you you.